What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. But there was another end of the floor in that second half. An end of the floor where Steph Curry went for 35 points just in the second half. Started with a half-court heave right before the buzzer at halftime. They cut the lead to 14. He caught some favorable coverages to start the third quarter. They were bringing Paolo and Wendell Carter Jr. into the screening action, and those guys were just sitting back and letting Kentavious Caldwell-Pope just chase Steph over screens. And so he got a couple of really easy looks to start the third quarter, one that he made and one that he missed. But it actually got Steph into a groove. And so then when Orlando started to up the pressure, he was already on one of those classic Steph hot streaks because he's hit a three, just hit a bomb to end the first half. He's already in a groove there. I think he had, 21 in the first half. There was nothing they can do at that point. He's already in the groove. These things are usually connected. Like a lot of times, if you play sloppy defense in an early portion of a game, a guy will get confident in a rhythm. It doesn't matter how tight you get on him in the second half or the rest of the game. These are some of the best shot makers in the history of the sport, right? Steph is the best shooter in the history of the sport. He was getting downhill and he was stepping back in the mid-range. He was getting guys with pump fakes to get separation. He had guys running out his base, drawing fouls. He drew 5 fouls in this game. He fooled Paolo several times in the second half, got him on a pump fake and got him on a foul where he ran out his base. KCP was just getting fried all night as Steph's primary defensive assignment. I thought KCP looked a little slow in this game, but that's another story. This is all super encouraging for the Warriors because Steph had looked pretty rough before the Jimmy trade. Before Jimmy suited up, he was averaging 23 points per game on 43% from the field and 39% from three. In the last 8 games with Jimmy Butler, he's averaging 31 points per game, 51% from the field, and 43% from three. In other words, the Steph Curry that we've grown accustomed to for well over a decade now. But the one thing that was missing, even with everything having to do with the averages, was the explosive scoring nights. The crazy Steph's on another heater, guys, everyone get to your TV type of moments. Steph didn't have a single 40-point game yet this season. Last year, he had 6. Last time he had a similar roster before the Jimmy trade in 2021, he had 10 40-point games, obviously a younger player. This explosive scoring night, getting 56, getting like an otherworldly type of performance out of Steph against a good defense is a really, really strong indicator of what this team is capable of moving forward. It's a big part of why I believe in this team. Like the defense was there all year. Jimmy just brings it up a level. Then you get Steph, a legitimate offensive co-star in Jimmy. Then you get night-to-night greatness from Steph back. Now you're getting a real Steph explosion. There's an awesome quote from Jamal Mosley in the post-game presser. He was asked, Coach, aside from Steph, because he's capable of doing this from time to time, what was the difference? He said, the man had 56 points. There is no aside from Steph. And like that's the exciting part. Like if you're looking at this team as a playoff threat, it really is simple. They're an elite defense with a bunch of really smart players and a great head coach. And on the other end of the floor, it's Steph Curry. Except for now, you can't throw the entire kitchen sink at him because Jimmy Butler's out there too. And oh, by the way, Jonathan Kuminga's not too far behind. And we can't write this team off when they're this good on defense and they're led by one of the greatest offensive players in the history of the sport. And he finally has someone that he can share that load with. Last note on the Warriors. I would be remiss if I did not mention Quinton Post's scoring in this game. I mentioned his rim protection earlier. But he poured in 18 points, too. He had a couple of threes. By the way, Quinton Post is hitting 51% of his unguarded catch-and-shoot attempts so far this year. 1.53 points per attempt. That's amazing. Like, one of the big things that happens with shooting bigs is there's like the shooting big, the guy that's going to hit 35, 36% of like, to quote Dorian Finney-Smith, butt naked, wide open threes that teams are just conceding to them. And then there's, this guy's got a burner. We have to account for him. I was watching a little bit of Nuggets Bucks tonight, and like Jokic is so good on the pick and pop. Teams are rotating from the weak side. They're guarding the pick and pop with 3 players because they can't afford to leave him open. There are a lot of bigs, guys like Miles Turner, guys like Nikola Vucevic. There are a lot of guys that are like, yeah, we'll live with him shooting out there. Quinn Post seems to have a burner. He looks like the kind of guy you can't leave out there. But I also thought he showed some impressive footwork in this game. He had a couple of buckets in the paint. He had a pick and roll switch where he buried a small under the basket, created a passing angle, quick finish over his left shoulder. He had another play off of a cut. I think it was from Draymond. It might have been from Jimmy, actually, where he just really patiently handled a kind of a swarm of players around him and showed some good footwork with a pump fake, step through, a little layup on the right side of the rim. He's just a really solid player. There's a lot to be excited about in the Bay right now.